You know that nagging feeling that you should be working even when you're supposed to be relaxing? Well, today, we're going to explore the surprising data behind something called leisure guilt and uncover the real hidden cost of not being able to just switch off.
I mean, really think about it. You finally sit down to watch a movie, or maybe play a game, or even just do absolutely nothing. And then that little voice in your head starts whispering, shouldn't you be doing something, productive right now? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. It's this really strange modern struggle, isn't it? Our leisure time, the very stuff that's supposed to be fun, ends up feeling kind of wasted, all because of this constant pressure to always be productive.
So this tension leads directly to a really fascinating and honestly kind of counterintuitive discovery from recent research. It's something we can call the happiness-guilt paradox. Okay, so researchers started with a super simple question for hundreds of people. They just ask, what do you do in your free time that makes you happiest? And, the answers were pretty much what you'd expect. Stuff like playing video games, hang out with friends, watching TV.
But then they hit them with a follow-up question. Okay, now, which of your leisure activities make you feel the most guilty for wasting your time? And this is where the answers started to get, well, really interesting. And here's where it gets truly wild. The things that bring us the most joy, playing video games, watching TV, scrolling social media, they are the exact same things that bring us the most guilt. It's a perfect and frankly a pretty troubling contradiction, right? So this whole conflict, it isn't just some vague feeling we all have. Researchers have actually given it a specific name, and that helps us understand it a whole lot better. It's called leisure guilt. And according to research, it's that negative, self-conscious feeling that pops up when we even think about doing something fun instead of work. To put it simply, it's the guilt of not being productive. And look, this isn't some rare, niche feeling. In one study, a pretty staggering 36.2% of students said that the exact same activities made them both the happiest and the guiltiest. I mean, that's more than 1 out of every 3 people caught in this paradox. Okay, so we know what it is, and we know it's incredibly common. But where does this feeling actually come from? Well, that brings us to the psychological roots of this anxiety we feel about just being idle.
So yeah, what's the real engine driving all this guilt?
Well, the research suggests it all starts with something called status anxiety. And that's exactly what it sounds like. It's that deep-seated worry about our place in society, that fear that we aren't measuring up or that we're falling behind everybody else. And this kicks off a really clear chain reaction. See, it begins with all this societal pressure to get ahead, which fuels our status anxiety. That anxiety then triggers the leisure guilt anytime we're not working. And the final link in that chain, a serious, measurable hit to our overall well-being. And when I say a hit to our well-being, that's not just some vague feeling. It's backed by some pretty stark data. So get this, the research shows that people with higher levels of leisure guilt experience an 18% drop in their overall life satisfaction. On top of that, they report a 41% spike in what psychologists call negative affect, basically just more day-to-day feelings of sadness, stress, and anger. And maybe the most alarming part? They suffer from a 50% increase in anxiety. I mean, when you put all that together, this isn't just a minor annoyance we're talking about, it's a serious psychological toll. And the impact just keeps going. Leisure guilt is also strongly linked to more stress, people rating their own health as poorer, getting less actual enjoyment out of their free time, and even lower feelings of self-worth. It basically poisons the well of relaxation. And what's really fascinating is that this feeling isn't even constant throughout the day. The data actually shows that leisure guilt spikes sharply around 11 a.m. and then stays high through the early afternoon. Think about it. That's precisely when you might be tempted to procrastinate or take a break. But it's also when that guilty voice is screaming the loudest. So, looking at all this data, it really forces us to zoom out and ask a much bigger question. Is it maybe time that we, as a society, started to reevaluate our entire relationship with work and leisure? The research points to a really powerful cultural backdrop here. The United States, in particular, is a society where hard work, individual effort, and this relentless work ethic are really cherished. They're put on a pedestal. And this kind of cultural value system is the perfect fertile ground for leisure guilt to take root and just grow.
And you can see this cultural difference so clearly when you just look at vacation norms. In the US, there are 0 mandated paid vacation days. 0. And about 1 in 4 workers gets no paid time off at all. Now compare that to the European Union, where workers are guaranteed at least 4 weeks of paid vacation by law. The priorities are just fundamentally different.
So all of this really leaves us with one final and, I think, pretty provocative question. In this constant anxiety-fueled race to be productive, to achieve more, to prove our worth, have we all just forgotten how to rest? It's definitely something to think about.